Hi, flowers, flowers, flowers to you. Good afternoon once again. How is your Thursday? What a better way to spend it together on Growth Day today with Vision Women's Hub. I can see you ladies, you love yourselves and you are in the room, ready to grow. Growth is self-love. And when you continue to grow, that is continuous growth, it is so healthy that now it's past self-love. Now, that means you're spoiling yourself. And believe me, you will not be like those who never enter such rooms. So my name is Patience Mbabas Muhanji, the CEO of Vision Women's Hub. And in the room, I have my administrator, Patricia. Yes, wave to the ladies. So we welcome you to our bi-weekly Growth Day engagements to Vision Women's Hub, which is a space, a hub, a network, and an environment of women where growth never stops. Of course, and we believe there is more to what we know, and it's always getting better than we entered. All the time, whenever we enter, we don't live the same. And I know at the end of this, we will have a different perspective. Here, we support each other and we have the same mindset of growth, but you can't grow without a vision. So Vision Women's Hub is passionate about a lady having a holistic vision for their lives. And that's how Doris comes in to talk to us. We shall get to that topic. And I know we are going to grow. So you can't grow without a vision. Otherwise, you just drift in life with every wave and current, and you will end in an undesired place. So we believe without a vision, indeed, people perish. So what is our vision for Vision Women's Hub? And why should we have these platforms at such a time as this? And call on ladies to listen in, to grow. Our vision is to ensure women thrive in every area or space or season. That's why our topics are wide. Our topics are wide, and anytime a different topic that you rarely consider shows up because it's part of growth. It embraces every lady in every area of her life. And you can't thrive without entering some rooms like these where you get knowledge, insight, wisdom, and nuggets for you and the people around you. So the ladies make it happen here. What's our mission? Our mission is to help women achieve their full potential, big dream, God-sized ones, have a God-given vision and problem solve, because vision comes with a set of big problems. So you need to solve them to achieve them. And believe me, you cannot do it alone. So that's why we have such hubs and networks. So it's time to welcome our speaker today. And I know some people in the room know her, maybe even more than us in the hub. Welcome our speaker today, who is already in the house, already smiling, ready to give us her experience, none other than Doris Mitti. And Doris Mitti, I got to know Doris when she's my childhood friend. I met her on campus, and Doris was cheeky, and she's still cheeky. I think even if you see her face, I think you can see she's still cheeky. Doris, I have to tell people you are a cheeky one. So, and again, everyone parted after campus. She will let us know where she has been, which corridors, which continents. But recently, I bumped into Doris in BNI. And as a BNI member in her chapter, actually, and she was my vice president. So I entered when she was on my case now this time. The tables had turned a bit, and I was no longer seeing her as the cheeky one, but now she was putting me in line And again, nurturing me grow in another space of business, and also getting to know the world perspective of other business people who are in the network. So Doris Mitti, welcome. What can I say? She's a seasoned communications and fundraising expert with over 20 years of experience, having collaborated with esteemed organizations like the UN and the World Bank across East and South Africa. As the founder of Seller Consult, Doris provides top-notch communications, PR, and strategic consultancy services. She's also a skilled MC. She wears many hats. A moderator, an accomplished author, a translator, and professional book editor, fluent in multiple languages, including French and Spanish. Wow. In addition to her consultancy, Doris runs Stellar Work Hub, a serene workspace designed to inspire creativity, foster new ideas, and build meaningful relationships. The hub offers a calm environment where you can enjoy a good cup of tea, connect over unlimited Wi-Fi, and do your best work. Passionate about mentoring the next generation. I think that's why when I asked her, she just said, why not? I'm ready. Doris is dedicated to guiding professionals to achieve their full potential. She's also a certified leadership trainer, a dedicated Rotarian, and a proud wife and mother. Let me talk about her book, because I've read it. Authored and edited numerous publications helping first-time authors from the Harvest Institute School of Leadership bring their stories to life. She herself is an author, yes, of He Calls Me Mama, a book that was recently nominated by the African Christian Authors Book Award 2024. I think she needs a clap over there when we hear that, you know, our Christian ladies are excelling and they're getting awards there. Welcome, welcome, our sister, our mother now, our friend, our mentor, our author, our speaker, Doris Mitti. Hey. The floor is yours.
Wow, thank you for having me on this platform, Patience. I didn't think you remembered the cheeky bit from school. As I see, my past follows me.
Yes, yes.
It's so good to be here. Good afternoon, ladies. Good evening. It's been a really long day for me. I've been training a different group of people. So I also do fundraising and communications. I've been training a group of NGOs on how to fundraise and reach out to this CSR. So if you hear my voice going low, yeah, just know I need an energizer bunny to keep me going, but I'm so glad to be here. It's exciting. When Patience told me that she wanted me to speak on this platform, I was like, what am I going to tell the ladies? Like, those are your visioned women. They are in a different realm. It's like, no, tell your story. I'm like, what story? Your story, you know, that you wrote about in the book. And I was like, whoa, okay. I wrote the book. I'm not sure if I'm ready to tell the story, but I guess I already am, considering that it's out there. And I just want to also, Patience, allow me to recognize two ladies on this platform who come from that space of mine where we are supporting women and families that are dealing with infertility. There's Fiona Nanozi, I see she's logged in, and Rachel. We just had an amazing conference at the end at this last weekend on Saturday, where we brought together all the different players, stakeholders, and families that are dealing with the issue of infertility. It was an amazing success, and we hope that, yeah, from it, we're going to see some changes in policy and in the way so many things so many organizations, companies, and even the government and medical facilities handle the issue of fertility for couples and for families generally. Yeah, so that's really about it, just to bring you into the loop. I wish I could hear from one or two of the ladies why specifically they felt they needed to be on this call, so that I can speak into your expectations. I have planned my talk, Patience has guided me, but I just want to hear what, if anybody's willing to share, one or two people, just specifically what you're hoping to hear and what you're expecting to get out of this conversation. Can somebody please volunteer and share? Yes, somebody, Matovo, has unmuted. Matovo. Okay. Anne, yes, Anne.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, when I saw the flyer on the YSAVE Women's Group, because I'm in YSAVE, and I was first of all seeing you. I know you, and I didn't know that side of your story. So I thought, wow, it's nice. I also have a number of friends and relatives who are struggling with the issue of infertility, or who have been struggling with the infertility. So I just really came on to hear your story, and I've actually invited them. Some of them they have not yet joined, so I was really that was the reason why I logged on, to encourage another person who is struggling with this, but also to hear that side of you. I'm just interested in listening to people's stories. Yeah.
Okay. Fortunate, do you want to share? I see a Fortunate there. My eyes just fell randomly on your name.
Okay, hi. So I'm called Fortunate, and the reason why I came here, I think I saw it with a BNI member. That's how I got to see this. And the reason I'm interested in this is because personally maybe trying to deal with something that is sort of similar, but I just want to pick from the resilience and to sort of just see how maybe other people have been able to overcome some of these things. Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, great. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. So we are looking to learn, to understand how somebody deals with this whole situation and how they go through. Okay, anyway, so I'll start somewhat at the beginning. So we are talking about vision, and I think that's the whole emphasis why Patience started up the Vision Women Hub, a place where women can just begin to look beyond themselves and look into those dreams and look into those places where they want to see themselves 10, 15 years from now. And I think generally all of us have those visions. We have the vision for ourselves, we have the vision for our families, we have visions for our lives, both professional and personal. And I guess, and sometimes even without noticing it, it is there in our subconscious, because we wouldn't be doing the things that we do without actually having vision. So growing up, like any other young lady, I grew up with different dreams and different hopes and whatever. So some of my dreams were that one day I would be a UN employee and that I would travel the world. I knew that one day I would settle down, marry someone, and have 5 children. Don't ask me why 5, but that was because that was the number we were at home. And then I used to look at my other cousins or whatever, where there were like 1 or 2 kids. And I would think, gosh, it must be so boring living in a family when you're just an only child or you're just 2. So, but it wasn't something I really, really dwelt on. It was just there at the back of my mind. Should I ever get married? I would want to have a number of children that I can have a big family with and just enjoy, because I'm like ignorance. So for me, it was a sense of, I just want to have kids running around, because I used to remember all the trouble me and my brothers would get up to, and we're just jumping all over the place and getting punished. So, and life was interesting because I was very intentional about some of my dreams. And for example, working with the UN, I knew that if I had to work in the UN, I had to learn an extra language, I had to learn a particular skill. So by the age of 9, I had already enrolled in a school where I could learn French, and you know, I learned French, went on to do it. By the time I finished university, I graduated with a degree in French. Then I went on to do a master's in translation. Just know, my first job at the age of 24 was with the United Nations. So that one was clear. Like things were just going according to plan. Like whatever I would say, this is what I would do at this point in time, it would come to pass. I would drive this kind of car, it would come to pass. So I can't ever say that I really had a difficult or struggling childhood growing up. Somehow, God made it possible that my life was, you know, sort of smooth. I traveled the world. I put off getting married until a time when I felt comfortable. You know, all the guys who tried to propose to me in my 20s, I ran in the opposite direction, because I said, me now, I still haven't yet seen this country. I haven't gone here. I haven't traveled here. So my thing was, by the time I settled down, I should have done all those things. And indeed, it almost again worked out that way. I traveled the world. I saw a place I wanted to see. I partied as much as I wanted to party. Then when I was about 30 years old, I was somewhat ready. I had some heartbreaks here and there. And then I said, anyway, even if they've broken my heart, they were not meant to be. Then I thought, if it hurts this much, maybe I shouldn't get married at all. You know, but eventually, I was ready. When I decided, I think in my head, okay, now I think I'm ready to get married. An old friend showed up, a friend I had had in high school, someone I really knew and really liked, and someone who would make me laugh quite a lot. And he was my friend. I did not. So when he met me the first time, like the first day we met, 12 years after high school, he said, "What, you girl, you're still single? You're not married?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here, not married, not bothered about marriage, going to marry you." Like, huh? Look at this one. And who said I was ready for marriage? He's like, "No, I'm going to marry you." So the next day, so I thought, maybe he's drunk too much or something. The next day he called me. He's like, "I was supposed to travel, but I have to see you. I was serious last night. I wasn't joking. You know, I'm going to marry you." I was like, okay, I guess this is how it works. So from that point on, it was just serious courtship, no jokes, no, maybe we shall see where this ends up. No, exactly 1 year to the day we had met after those 12 years, off we went, Kwanjulat and everything. And then, of course, yes, I had noticed from a much younger, rather age, that I seemed to have long stretches of time between my periods. From the moment I got my first periods when I was even in high school, I would go 3 months, 4 months without the period. And of course, when you're younger, you're like, anyway, the whole period thing is just annoying. It might as well stay away. I got concerned later when I got to university, and I thought, but this cannot be normal. Most people have their periods every month. I went to see a doctor. This was me at university, no intention of having babies or anything, just wondering what was going on. And the doctor, the now the very famous Dr. Businje, those days he was on Bombo Road near Shua House, and the lines would be so long and you'd be there for a long time. And I used to wonder, all these women, they've all come to see a gynecologist. So when I explained my problem to him, he just said, oh, we need to put you on contraceptive pills, and then that will help your periods to get regular. So I was like, I'm still young. I am not, sexually active like that I should go on contraceptive pills. Besides, what I've heard about these things is that, they do something to you. So I said, I will not go that way. So I didn't go back, after, for a while. Now, later on, fast forward, I get married, and then again, that problem had never really gone away. I would still miss my periods for months on end, days on end. Now, finally, when I got married, I asked, that's when my husband and I decided, like early on in the beginning, we decided, let's go and first do some tests and find out ABC. So when we went for the tests, that's the first time I heard the doctor telling me, you have a condition called polycystic ovary syndrome, and we call it PCOS. I said, what is that? He said, well, this happens, your hormones are like this, they are not balanced, you have more of this and less of this, and then you have cysts building around your ovaries, which don't allow for fertilization to happen easily. But it's a simple thing. It can be sorted out. Don't worry about it. I said, okay. My husband was also checked, and they said, okay, for you, the issue is like this. Again, simple thing that can be corrected with the right diet. You have to take these kinds of vitamins, this kind of minerals. So it seemed like all was well. Anyway, that was 2009. And that was the beginning of our journey. The doctor's visits, the injections, the drugs, the hormonal injections. Those things were something. One moment your mood is this way, the other moment it's another way. One moment you put on weight and you're as fat as a balloon about to expand, and then people keep asking you if you're pregnant. And then it just became such a roller coaster for so long, the tests, the prodding. On Saturday, someone was giving a talk and said something interesting. She said, when you go through infertility, you reach a point where your privates no longer become private, and no longer private, because you're at the doctor's every other day, and you're like, it's okay, I'll just sit, put my legs up, do whatever you are. Like it just gets to that point. But of course, then we would have breaks. There are times when you'd get so affected by the meds, and then because they mimic pregnancy symptoms sometimes, then you do the test and you think it's positive, and then it is not, then you're disappointed. Then other times you put on so much weight, you balloon, you lose your self-esteem, you hate yourself, you hate the way you dress, you hate your clothes, everything is annoying. Then you come from that stage. Then other times they give you a drug which has to be taken at a particular time of day or something, which like it was always one thing or other that you were dealing with at any given point. And really the whole idea that when I get married, the next logical step should be a baby did not seem to be happening. Thankfully, my husband was supportive. He was there. He was by my side. He was at every doctor's treatment. He also went through the different treatments that they subjected him to. Then at one point, we got hope. We changed doctors. We got hope. Got pregnant. I think that was about 2014. Got pregnant. Got excited. Found out at about 5 weeks. At 10 weeks, out of the blue, I'm sitting at home. I go to the bathroom and clothes and blood are just coming out of me. Drove myself to hospital, praying. So then that also began a cycle of, miscarriages, hopes, and shattered dreams. So it was always those things. However, in all those things, at least I had a relationship with God. And even though I had that relationship with God, I would find myself going back to him and saying, I would question God. Sometimes I would just be mad at him. Other times I would beg for forgiveness. I would say, God, whatever sins I committed when I was young, please forgive me. Don't make me pay like this, Now that would be the time when you're in a zone, like in a pity party zone, and you're thinking, what did I do? Lord, I messed up, I know, but forgive me for this one. Then other times I'll just give in and I'll say, okay, God, it's okay. You do what you want. Me, I've given up. I am done talking to you. I'm done praying. And then you'd find yourself somehow bouncing back. And then still that whole issue again attacks also different areas of your life. So socially, I was a little sort of isolated. Not isolated like alone, but you know how you're lonely in a crowd, so to speak. So I would be with people, but I'm there. I'm partying, I'm laughing, I'm smiling, but I go away, I'm still empty, I'm still lonely. And then friends, intentionally or unintentionally, people stop talking to you about certain things. So they stop telling you about their pregnancies. You sort of just hear about it. Oh, so and so had a baby. And you're like, huh? Like, how come? I was chatting with them 2 days ago, 3 days, a month ago. Nobody ever mentioned, she didn't mention that she was pregnant. You wouldn't get invited to things like baby showers or even birthdays. At some point, you sort of just see pictures. The WhatsApp statuses hadn't yet come a lot, but you would still get the news somehow. And that also became a bit lonely, especially because now you didn't know whom to talk to. And also, we are told, don't tell your problems to people. Deal with your own things. That's what we are told in counseling and in church. Keep your stuff to yourself. So you're there, you're keeping stuff to yourself. You don't know who to talk to. I couldn't talk to my family. I couldn't talk to my mother because I knew my parents, my mother, my mother-in-law. This was a dream they had for us, but they also didn't know how to approach us. And then, you would just learn to just be in your own space. Then the miscarriages, one moment you're happy, then you tell somebody, you sort of say, okay, we're not going to tell anybody, but then we can't help it, let's tell our mothers. Then you tell your mother, and then you have a miscarriage, and you're like, oh, okay, that was supposed to be a baby. You had already started conjuring up a name, you've already started thinking how, and then suddenly all that goes away. And you don't even realize that miscarriages actually have been happening to people because people don't talk about them. Now, when you actually open had to, then you're like, I wish I had known that, people go through some things like this. Maybe it would give me some comfort. And so then over time, I just got into a status quo. I got my own coping mechanisms, and my coping mechanisms involved more work, more travel, more fun activities, more prayer, all rolled into one. You'll find me at a concert dancing happy, happy. Then tomorrow I'll be sleeping in Bukalango in prayers. Then the next week I'm on Chiwamirembe in the prayer mountain there. Then another day they say there's a healing deliverance service at, I don't know, Miracle Center. I'll be in that church. Like, I could barely talk to anybody about it because I just didn't want to dwell on the whole thing. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to have conversations. And of course, there was the whole issue of Basenga and Ba auntie who would have ideas. You know, there's this other lady, she's found in Iganga. She has, meanwhile, in that process, we were also drinking some herbs. If you read my book, there are parts which just become funny when I talk about our different experiences. And then people would be telling you, oh, there's this car, there's this one. But anyway, those ones I kept at bay. So they would tell my mom, and my mom knew I didn't want to hear these stories. So she would also have to find a way to tell me, I'd be like, but do they even know what they're treating? Sorry for the people who don't know Luganda. But something about your womb or your uterus has to be straightened out, or it is out of shape. I'm like, who told them my uterus was out of shape? I'm not going to start drinking things to organize my uterus. They have not done any medical tests on me. So I eventually got into a space where, for me, once I got into my relationship with God, I found peace, yeah, because my relationship with him now was peaceful. I believed his word. Now that is the point at which I got really into the word. I found every scripture that there is about how you can keep how you can you'll have children, how children are a gift from God, and a man with many children is blessed there. He has like a quiver full of them, and they're like many vines around the table. I bent on those words. I knew every scripture. I read them daily. So because of that, I found peace. So I was like, okay. So, and then I knew I wasn't barren because I was getting pregnant and losing the pregnancies. So for me, it was 100% possible that I would one day become a baby. And that's why even with all the treatments that we went through, we never went to the extreme side of saying, let's go for IVF, because I was sure I could conceive naturally. And then I found peace in that space. And once I found peace, I was able to live my life. I was able to do my work. Yes, there were times when it would get too much. You know, at some point I had to quit my job because I wasn't emotionally and psychologically there. But that was, you know, I would still find peace in all that. Now, you might be asking and wondering, hey, now you're going through all this, where's your other half? Now, that was the area that was unstable for me, and that was a part of my husband. You know, men, because they're not very good communicating creatures, either to themselves or to the people around them, he was not sharing, he was not talking. So he was dealing internally with whatever it was, because, and I knew it was killing him. My husband loves children. He loves children. So more than anything, I think for me, I wanted to have the baby for him so that he could have peace. And then he wasn't on the same spiritual path that I was. So he was struggling to cope. And I really didn't know how to help him because, in my view, I thought I tried everything. I talked to him, I quarreled, I begged, I cajoled, until I just decided, until I realized the only thing I could do was pray. So I just started praying for him. And I prayed, and I prayed. And I would get frustrated with the prayer. And sometimes I would see it working. Then other times he would fall back to the bottle. His alcoholism, his drinking took on a level of real alcoholism where it was from work to the bar and into the night and into the next morning. And he would come home in the evening, rather in the early morning, to take a shower, dress up and go to work. I don't know even how he was functioning, because he told me that that description is called a functional alcoholic. They still work, but they're in a daze. So he would still work, he would go to work, but you can imagine that frustration. You're like, the doctor told, sometimes, of course, you've been to the doctor, you've gone through this whole treatment regime, and they're saying, you have to be doing this, you have to be at this point at this time. And I'm like, but the man is not when we get from the doctors, he will drop me off home, disappear. I'm like, but the doctor said, this is the right time. This is we have a window that is open that we need to do this. And, but anyway, I kept praying. I kept hoping. I tried to talk to our spiritual leaders, but they didn't seem to get it. So I didn't know where to turn. Like, I think for me, that was one of my biggest frustrations, that I could see how my husband was suffering, but he couldn't talk to anybody. And I couldn't even talk to anybody about him and help him either. And whatever he was dealing with was bigger than him. He didn't seem to have the willpower to fight. He didn't even want to try. But eventually, one fine day like this, after over 15 years of struggling with alcohol, I think in his entire life now, 8 of those years was in our marriage, but the total number of the years that he had been drinking had been close to 15 years or so. But the drinking had never reached that level. But after 8 years in our marriage of drinking, he woke up one day and just declared, he said, I am done. I'm done drinking. I'm done, smoking. This is it. You guys, like any other good wife, I did not believe him. I said, yeah, I've had that story before, been there, done that. You have promised me that many times. But the grace of God is sufficient. People say I had to go to rehab. People say I had to go where? My husband came home one morning and just said, I am done. Let me just keep this phone. And it's been 7 years now. I'm happy to announce, since he last touched a drop of alcohol, he quit just like that. And so that was so he quit in 2017. So he's been 7 years sober. And in 2019, in July, we found out we were pregnant. And we had our son, Yosefu Gabriel Mpanga Kimuli, as he calls himself, all those many names, on February 10th, 2020, by natural conception. A lot of people think, well, at that point now we were going to a fertility hospital, but interestingly, the fertility doctor didn't even touch us even once. Like, we went there and he said, everything seems fine. So he says, go and do this, everything looks okay, but maybe the tubes. We said, but we've done the tubes test before. He said, you'd go do it again. Because there had been a lapse of maybe 7 years since we had done that tube test. I went, most painful test I've ever done. Gosh, whew, very painful. Just doing an X-ray of your fallopian tubes at Kampala Imaging Center. And we came back and they told me your tubes are blocked. We need to do a surgery called the laparoscopy. We just go down through your navel, we go in there, we remove, we scrape. I said, doctor, the God I serve, you are not going to do any operation on me. He said, so what will we do? He said, I will conceive, I will have that baby. because at that point I had also now found a place where you could do juicing. So I was juicing a lot. I was doing a therapy called castor oil therapy. And I told doctor, I'm doing something called castor oil therapy. He said, how does that work? I said, even me, I don't know, but I have seen testimonies that it works. And I know that it will work for me. And so that must have been that we had the conversation with the doctor in February 2019. And we got back to him at the end of June 2019, and we were pregnant. And he could not believe it. So, to conclude the long story, yes, we have tried to get pregnant again. We haven't been successful. I've had 2 miscarriages in the last 3 years. It's always painful because every pregnancy that you have, you start to dream for it. You start to think of names. You start to imagine yourself, like how you're going to balloon, how you're going to look, how you start looking forward even to the throwing up and the cravings and what. And every time the doctor says, okay, it's not viable, we have to take it out, or we have to do a certain procedure to clean up. Ooh, it's such a disappointment. But for me, interestingly, I still feel more sorry for my husband. I keep thinking, this man, he really, really was looking forward. I think for me, because really I found that space in God, in Christ, where he knows the plans that he has for me, and those plans really, really, really steady me. So really, just to conclude, my dear sisters, is sometimes life will really throw us some curveballs, really huge curveballs. You start on a straight line, you know where you're going, and then it will just knock you off. And then you have to sit down, you have to redefine your journey, you have to rethink. If you thought that getting married and having babies and then immediately having babies was the thing, then you have to start and redefine what a family or a marriage really means to you. Create marriage for children? Those are questions we'll ask. Or was it for couples to enjoy the glory of God through companionship? Yesterday was what, Wednesday? Tuesday was my older sister's birthday. I have an older sister, and her and her husband also don't have children. They've been married as long as we have been married, 15 years. But they found a lot of peace. I still don't know how they do it. Nobody even understands them. They have the most beautiful house. They live with like 5 dogs and cats. And it was her birthday, and the husband had gone all out, made all these balloons, a photo booth, and roses and flowers all over the place. And the chef was in the kitchen making a fancy dinner. To me, I just called her. I said, I haven't seen you in a long time. Let me come. Anyway, it's even your birthday. And I find all these things. I'm like, who are you expecting? They're like, no, it's just us. It's just the 2 of them. And they seem to have made such a beautiful connection of their lives. It could be me looking on the outside, looking in, but my sister is that close to me. We're best friends. We've walked so many journeys together. I think she would tell me, man, Chizibu. But they're okay. They have run a business, they're managing businesses. So for them, have they found other ways to enjoy their marriage without necessarily having children? They probably have, and I think they have. And they've found ways to cope, they found ways to live, they found ways to enjoy their lives. And what about other children? What about the thought of other children? Before Yosefu came along, we were raising other children. So for many people actually who were not close, they never realized that we didn't have kids, because we have 5 foster children that we have enjoyed parenting. In fact, today is 2 of my boys' birthdays. Interestingly, they share the same birthday. One is 15 today, the other one has made 30 today. So those are children that we have fostered, and we've gone through the same pains and joys that everyone goes through. Our 30-year-old got married last year, and we were running. I was mother of the groom. I was running all over the place. I was shopping. I was buying things. You know. Yesterday, my daughter-in-law called me, Mommy, I found I was pregnant. Now I have had a dream. It has scared me. In fact, Patience was near me. I told her, Patience, my daughter-in-law has called me. She's worried. So we said, no, let's pray. We prayed over her. And I'm like, wow. So the joy in raising children can come from different angles. It can come from different spaces. On Saturday, when we were at this infertility conference, people were sharing stories of, I just decided. I went and I have my twins and I have my children. I'm raising them. They didn't come from my womb, but who can tell me that those are not my children? So there's so many, the different ways and different avenues and gifts God has given us to give purpose and meaning to our lives. And we just need to find those spaces and explore them and grow in them. So while the journey may be tough, just find joy and fulfillment in those things that you have. Find joy and fulfillment in the life God has given you. And yeah, you never know how or when it might happen for you, for your loved ones, but just keep hope alive and find that space where you can always say, this is me, and I have the fulfillment that I need to be me. And with that, allow me to say thank you. Patience.
Oh, wow, wow. I think you people, we should unmute and give her a hand clap. Wow, wow. I didn't want you to finish, Doris. You finished so early. I wanted you to go on and on, because you have been so vulnerable. You have opened yourself to us. You didn't leave even the other bit of your husband. Well, you decided to come. Let me come and tell it all. I am so proud of you, Doris, because I remember when I told you, when I said, Doris,
Full
I want you to come
blast.
and yes, and speak to us. And then when I asked you, I said, there is this story that I know, yes, we are in this world, and everyone is like, I have this vision for ABCDFG. But you know what? I mean, as some people are saying, I have a vision for these children, and what there are those people who are on a journey, and a difficult journey. And I believe in experiences, even as we are in this vision world of ours, because now your experience, some of us, we will never, first of all, understand it, but at least now we have a sneak peek, of what happens. Actually, I also loved this bit of where you said that I even sent a chat. I sent a message in the chat where he said that it's no longer, there is a certain point where you live and it's no longer private. Your private parts are no longer private, and you're just there opening up yourself. And I was like, this girl was the right person to talk to us. But Doris, before I open for the ladies to ask their questions, because I know they are going to bombard you with them, allow me, thank you so much for the vulnerability. Actually, you've over-delivered, according to me. Yes, your journey, you have over-delivered. It's an emotional one. Of course, us who are the hearers, and we don't know that journey. But the fact that you have decided to take it up and help other ladies who are like you, who are like you, who have been in that journey, and maybe some have conceived, but some are still on that journey, and you've told us that it's a journey of hope. I liked also this bit where you got your peace, and you're like, actually, you also told God, well, that was after you had gotten a relationship with him, and you're like, God, you started enjoying him, with or without. I'm your friend. You are my friend. And to me, and of course, you've told us also the verses. I've seen them in the book. Yeah, those verses are in the book. And I remember when you told me you used to speak the verses to your stomach, to your baby, to,
Yes.
and yes, you pulled it out very well. And of course, this is a Christian platform, by the way. So this is good. You're talking to us who are sold in, or someone might say, but I'm not Christian, I'm not Christian. But you've said what you did. You're giving out what you have. Now, when it came to the side of your husband and you started telling us how he coped badly, the bad way, like the world way, and how you were patient, And actually, when he said enough is enough, how you did not believe, I put myself in your shoes. Definitely, even me, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? You've been there, done that. Every time that's what happens. Thank you for opening up now, not to only you, but also giving us this this sneak peek that it's not always also you, even the man is also struggling and is also trying to cope the situation as it is presenting itself. Now, well, I think I have to open the stage. I have to open the room for people. By the way, no, about the foster children, I am a witness. How you got out of the room the other day running, and you were going to, to, of course, mother-in-law. You were going to tell your daughter-in-law, and you're like, oh, now when you came, and I'm like, what? You're pacing around in the meeting, and you're like, my daughter-in-law, the way you said it, you're real, was a joy. Of course, I saw the mother-in-law or the mother, in you and in my heart. I was like, that's where we are heading, how many, how many years to come. In my heart, I'm like, okay, the other time she was pacing, she would be in the room pacing for herself. But now she's pacing now
for my children.
for your grandchildren. Thank you for opening up your heart. You also said that people who didn't know you that time thought that those in the house were your children.
Yeah.
Wow, well done. Well done. Thank you for that big heart. The life lesson was telling us that life can be a curveball at any time. That is where I bring in the holistic life lessons, where I say that everybody has a turning point. Everyone has. It's just that we have not sat with everybody to tell us their story. One of the ladies who came in, was it Lydia? Or who was it, Lydia or Brenda, who said that she was with you in Gayaza, but she didn't know that bit of your life. And of course, everybody has a story to tell. It's just that we don't open up. And when we open up, we help many. And of course, everyone knows that I'm not alone. You know how the world can put you in a corner and you're like, okay, the world is against me, until you hear from ladies like Doris and you're like, no, I am not alone. So this is the time for the ladies to unmute and ask as many questions as they are and as the ones that she can answer.
Hey, Patience, yes. Allow me to say something before the ladies speak. So my belief in God was really based, or one of the reasons why I believed God so much was because he showed me how great he was in this space, and in that he would do it for me. And I'm going to point out somebody. Don't kill me. So one of the ladies, she's on this group. And if you read my book, she gave the foreword. She had waited about 12 years for a child. And when God gave her, when he decided to open her womb, he gave her 3 babies at the same time.
Wow, wow, wow.
And she's on this chat right now. And when I used to pray, I would reference her. I would say, God, you did it for her, you will do it for me.
Wow, wow.
Like that one, because I know her journey. We have been walking this journey together. So there were always, for me, I felt like there were always signs that God was showing me. There were always signs. There was also another friend we also had in common, and God had also given her a baby. So that one, for me, was like, yeah, I cannot even doubt the fact that you've done it for them, you're going to do it for me. And so that's where I really got a lot of my hope, and that's how I walked. So, my dear friend, if you want to share, please, the floor is yours. Otherwise, we can hear from others.
Wow, wow, wow. By the, I wanted to ask the book before the ladies start asking you the questions or supplementing or advice, you know, from them. The book is, where can someone find the book? And
Right. So currently it's out of stock in the bookshops. It's out of stock. So we are just doing a reprint. I have very few copies with me, maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, so we're just doing a reprint and we will restock hopefully next week. Yeah, so for the first 5 who ask for it, they can take the 5 that are remaining. Brenda Twine has already spoken. As you can see, it's only 40K.
Yes.
Let me write your names here.
Yes.
So that's those are the ones I have. Then others can wait, and when I have my reprints next week, you can announce through your platform that the books are available.
And I think we have an upcoming meet and greet on 14th of September. We should have some copies so that the ladies who are going to come, who are coming, we are going to talk about the event later. They should be at the event as well, because, well, we might not need them, but we have someone in our circles who need them anyway. So this is the time now for ladies to say something, to ask questions, to give advice, to also share a little bit. We still have a few minutes. We usually open it up to, I think we have about latest 15 more minutes so that we are out of here. So, ladies, put up your arms, unmute. This is an engagement, by the way. It's a conversation where we hear from someone and then after we have a conversation and engage. I think Anne Waja.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Anne. Martha or Anne?
This is Martha.
Oh, Martha, yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My question today, my question today is, how do you balance the compassion, the mind your business, and the maybe pointing the friend in the right, in what you think at that moment might be maybe an option for her to try?
I mean, we might not be pointing her to the lady in Iganga, but maybe you're pointing her to the women's hospital, and maybe you're saying you've not tried this women's hospital, maybe you've not tried IVF, or maybe something, maybe you think there is a good idea that she should try. How do you balance that? The compassion, how do you balance the minding your business and maybe letting her know, because maybe if it could be a good idea that if she knew about it, she could probably maybe conceive something like that. So maybe that is the quandrum, the people on the sidelines. This is the quandrum sometimes that we deal with. So maybe you can throw some light in there. Do we stay on the sideline of minding your business completely? Do you come in once in a while and let your friend know there could be this option for her to try? Or do you just stay out of it? That kind of thing. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Martha. Anne?
Oh, thank you so much, Doris. Wow, what a story. I have to get the book. My question is a little bit similar to, I think, Martha's, in terms of how would you want people around you when you're in this kind of situation to treat you? So, because you mentioned how or from birthday parties, from baby showers, because I think it's also difficult for the people around a friend who's going through that to know how best to do it, because you think that if you invite them for a baby shower, they'll feel like, oh my God, that they have babies. And so what would you advise if you have people in your life who are in this situation to do in terms of how to handle you? Should they just be open and, invite you to anything and you choose, or how you, I mean, I'm able to balance between those I know that these babies, well, maybe children are children, but I'm sure there's something, I don't know, maybe you have something you can say about that. And then also